So Matthew, when we posted, I mean, because we've posted it before, because it's something I've said for a long time.
Yeah.
And if you want to go ahead and put up, do you have that available by any chance? Can you throw that up for folks?
Yeah.
I have a thing that I've said, and I truly do believe it, about dementia not robbing people of their dignity. And that was based on a phrase where people talk about, dementia takes away people's dignity. And that's people not living with dementia saying it's, she's been robbed of her dignity. And it's like, wait a minute. And then I've been in many, many situations where, well, we've got to protect her dignity. We've got to keep his dignity. And that has justified, and I use that word quite honestly and meaningfully. I haven't made a mistake in the word. We justify our actions toward people living with dementia and our words toward them and our behavior toward people who are living with dementia in order to, quote unquote, protect their dignity. So, I mean, we have whole care plans about this thing. So my statement is that dementia doesn't rob someone of their dignity. It's a reaction to them that does. So, and the reason I have said that is because I have heard this used to describe why someone who is not looking good, not clothed well. I mean, people just say, well, dementia's robbed them of their dignity. It's like, ooh. I mean, she's still there, and I don't know that her dignity has been affected. I believe that her looks and how she used to look versus how she looks now is different. She doesn't care and doesn't notice the same things she might have noticed before. He doesn't realize that, he's carrying around a briefcase that doesn't have anything meaningful, quote unquote, in it as far as being a university professor. However, that's simply the perspective of someone looking at them from the outside and seeing them as less. And so when I say dementia doesn't rob someone of their dignity, I am not saying that this is not a hard and miserable condition to sometimes have to work with from within and from without. I mean, I fully know that it has been there too many times and have too many friends I care and actually love who have lived with it to not believe that it is incredibly difficult to do this. But to say that it is what robs people of their dignity, I truly do not believe that. I believe it is what we say and do that makes it feel so horrible for people. So Matthew, I'm going to throw it out to you. I mean, because you've had to respond to some of these comments, or you've chosen to respond. I don't know that anybody had to respond, but we choose to respond because we want it to make sense. Because if it doesn't make sense, then that's not helpful. Because the whole reason we do what we do is to try to be helpful. So Matthew, do you have some ideas or thoughts? Because I mean, I'm really comfortable with that statement. Is it frustrating and scary sometimes? Yeah, but it's about this dignity issue.
Yeah,
where it comes in. So go ahead.
Yeah, Teepa, and I believe Dan did a really great job because as we were getting a lot of responses from folks, of course, trying to come up with the best way to support everybody and their experiences. And so Dan helped us out with some great responses, and he really brought it back to when you think about that definition of dignity and what that truly means, and the idea of seeing what is happening here in this particular situation. And so our ability to help support somebody continue to have that dignity, just like you brought up, and the way that we are now moving forward with this person, and that support and how it continues to give them that, because we can change our approach. We can change how we support that person in that moment, and it continues to provide that dignity for them, versus if we start making all of these changes and taking all of these things away and doing all of the things that we see so commonly, what that really does in that moment. And so the difference that can make when we are truly doing this thing together, because we can't say that we're doing this together if we're not doing the best we can to support the other person live their best life in that moment. And so what a great way to really show the difference that makes, and how we can continue to help somebody maintain who they are and what they would prefer and what they've always preferred and how they would like to do things by changing that support and being able to do that for them.
Yeah. And I think, you know, and working with folks, I mean, is our prime goal. So for instance, I think at our conference this last year, some of our core team members had worked together to put together a video for the gala. And two of the members of the group, Jen and Joanna Fix, you know, professor, forensic neuropsychologist, really made a strong point that when she lost her career, she didn't say she, you know, that was hard, but she said what really just about broke her was she felt like she lost her humanity. People didn't see her as of equal value as a human. And that's, my friends, is what we're talking about. How dare we presume to equate that human being to just their physical presence and just how they look and just how they sound and just, I mean, that's, you know, like devaluing other people in order to value others instead of, boy, things are sure different. And it is so hard. And I hate that for you. I hate that you can't teach the way you used to teach. Because Jen was this amazing resource person and tech guru and helper of teens that were really struggling to find their place in a society that they didn't fit in the mainstream, neuro atypical to start with. And she really was stellar with that work, the way she taught. And now she's stellar in her teaching as she lives with FTD. I mean, you know, she's living with FTD, and she's one of the best teachers we have for learning about what is it like to be a younger person working on living life. And man, you know, the frustration that you screw up things and you can't figure things out, and her willingness to share that about herself so we can have insight into this. Dementia has not robbed either of these women of their dignity. As a matter of fact, Joanna is running, you know, I mean, she's
One of the top people's
she's
choice
one of the top people, you
for
know,
Mrs. Colorado. Yeah.
Yeah, talk about, you know, no dignity for Teepa. I mean, oh, I'm not in that competition. I mean, even when she and I did the program for senior helpers in Denver, and she came down for that, I'm like, and I look like mashed potatoes next to a 5-course meal, you know, well put together. So, I mean, this is a woman who, I mean, but the challenge is that to do that will take the energy away for possibly 2 or 3 days. But that choice to spend that energy that way, that's hers to choose. And man, is she good at it. And that willingness to recognize I need support, which is so much better than many of us out there without dementia do when we get ourselves in a rut and we keep doing things that are not helpful, to recognize, you know what, we need some help. So I still believe that information that I put out there is accurate. I think it's how you choose to interpret it. So if I'm offending, I am so sorry, because that is not my intent. But if we could talk about what it means and why I say what I say, which is for those of us who surround or try to support someone living with dementia, recognizing when I say don't restrict or restrain me because I'm a risk taker and I'm wanting to take risks, figuring out that dance that we can do when that risk that you want to take doesn't just affect you, it affects others. Wow. That's a dance we have to do throughout our lives with people who are risk takers, or for people who are safety seekers, how can we help them have that horizon that they can look beyond the immediate sense of threat to what's possible with the right support? So I think it's a complicated dance we do. I don't think there's anything easy about it, but I truly do believe that it's what we choose to do and what other people choose to do that all different. And boy, do we have a long way to go before we get to a place where words like, well, she's demented, stops happening. That phrase needs to be retired and forgotten. Should be gone. So we have a lot of work. Now, her brain is changing. My brain is changing. Our brains change all the time. Yeah, Matthew?
So and Teepa's bringing this piece up, and I think for many folks, they've noticed when they're talking with somebody who is a PAC mentor or works for PAC, that often one person will say something to us, and you'll notice we'll shift that language and we'll substitute some words that are in those statements. And so noticing how that could be one of those first steps that many of us can take to start changing this piece and looking at what's that language we're using, how can we shift those? And like Teepa said, get up with us, connect with us. We would love to help support you with ways you can start shifting this language so that way, when you hear these statements from others, and then you make that shift, you can also continue to be that change, to start that change and keep it going. And notice how that makes such a huge difference for so many, because just like Teepa said, that common phrase of, well, she's demented, or she's
so she's having some trouble with some brain changes then. Yeah. Talk to me about what are the kinds of things you're struggling with when she is not the way she used to be.
Well, she gets real combative. She starts swinging.
Oh, wow. So she's really feeling threatened a lot. And so when people feel threatened, often they'll throw up a defense. And then, so I'm wondering, so as you can see, it's never ending for us, and that's because it's never ending. And until we get to new places where we speak a common language, and the common language is a we language. So sounds like she's really feeling threatened by something. Well, I'm just trying to give her a shower. She resists me when I try to feed her. I mean, those phrases, we have so many of them that we've used for so many years. We have a lot of new language, and words do matter, and how we say what we say matters, which is why we brought it up this morning. All right, folks. So starting off the week with a little bit of housekeeping, which, we try to go back and clean up stuff if we made mistakes or fix things that we've messed up. But this is one where I'll own it. It's my statement. Nobody else made it for me. But at the same time, others are supporting the statement. But we see that, you can interpret it other ways. And if you feel like that's what you want to talk about, hey, get up with us. We tend not to argue. We do tend to be fairly, well, we believe things. And if we have a reason to change what we think and believe, we'll be happy to do that. But sometimes we have to sort of explain why we do and see whether we can stay in the same space and work together, or whether we time away or space away from one another because it's just too emotionally charged. And that's okay too. All right, till next time, deep breath. Marianne, we're thinking of you, and take care with care out there, everybody. See you again.
Thanks, Teepa. Bye, everybody.
Hi, I'm Teepa Snow, and you just found our YouTube channel and watched one of our videos. I'm the owner and founder of Positive Approach to Care. Thanks for watching. And if you liked, if you have a comment about, or you would, please share it with people you know. Oh, and if you haven't yet done it, consider subscribing. We'll let you know when the next new video comes out. And you might want to visit our website, www.teepasnow.com, where you'll find other resources as well. See you there.